2.5, 3 months. But the point is, it was very early in my term, and I held the meeting because I wanted to provide a space where everybody could come out, members of the community, to express what they were feeling and their perspectives and opinions about the Willoughby Avenue open street. And what I found was that it became an incredibly contentious meeting. People from all sides, both sides, 10 sides, every perspective that was there. As I forget who mentioned it, but somebody said, there were some people who were rude, and that's, the nicest way I can say it. And the experience that I had there was one that I learned from, and my team and I had many, many talks about that meeting specifically because we didn't feel like it was a productive meeting. We didn't get out of that meeting what we had hoped to get out, which was to have everybody's voice heard. And DOT gave a presentation, and I totally agree with, everything that everyone has said about DOT being biased. We learned afterwards in some, conversations that we had with them that a lot of the way that they present their surveys are very biased. We had seen a survey that they were going to put out for Willoughby Avenue. We had asked them to make some changes. And because we weren't satisfied with the changes that they had made, we asked them to make sure that our office could be present during their community outreach dates. And so I had team members that came out with DOT a couple months after that, shortly after that meeting, that were, throughout the neighborhood. I think they were there over a particular weekend. And I made sure that my team was present because we wanted to make sure, first off, one of the things they said was that everything was only going to be electronic. All the surveys were going to be electronic. And we were concerned, obviously, that there were people who aren't going to know how to fill out a survey electronically. And so we wanted to make sure that we had people who would be present to help folks fill out the survey, that they could fill out the other part and actually write in their real true feelings and not have to just check off boxes that said the answers that DOT had sort of put in. And so we did that, and then we learned from that experience that people still weren't heard. And so then I had a number of conversations with a number of people in the community, and I encouraged people to get together and to write a letter. And so then a letter was sent in, and so I think from there, at least from my perspective, this type of advocacy and this type of huge group and collective has really grown out of that initial advocacy around Willoughby Avenue. And so it's something that I'm really heartened to see. I think it was also mentioned earlier that people are coming together from all across the district, from Prospect Heights, Clinton Hill, Fort Greene, Crown Heights, with all the same perspectives, the same viewpoints, and people who clearly have felt unheard by DOT and generally by government. And so, it's always been a goal of mine to make sure that my office in particular is hearing from as many people as possible, that we're not only listening to one side, that we are giving people an opportunity to express themselves. We just held a meeting, I think last week or maybe the week before, with DOT and specifically opponents to the Underhill Avenue Bike Boulevard changes, because I've learned from that first meeting that when you hold a meeting where everybody is invited, it's unproductive. And so I appreciate, Reverend Trufant, the space that you've created here for all of you to be heard and your perspectives to be shared, because I do think it's important to make sure that every perspective is actually heard. And what I've heard from you all is that that has obviously not been the case.